Okay, guys, so the first thing I want to point out is that we are going to have several different objects on the same screen. So it is going to be important to organize things. And one way to do that is to have a construction layer for each item. For example, I have two projects here, and if I had the construction lines on for both of them, this is what it would look like. Mayhem. So what I have done is made a set of construction lines, a layer of construction lines for each object. So I am turning off the construction lines for object 2. That way, they're not going to interfere with our work here. So let's get started on this guy here, the tool post itself. I am going to basically start from scratch. So I'm going to turn off my construction lines altogether. Or I should say, I guess I'll just delete them that way. There we go. I'll just delete them. And we'll start off with a horizontal construction line at the bottom. And I'll line it up with this other view here so that makes sense. Okay, so you can see right off my drawing the offsets. I've converted them into decimal. Of course, on the original drawing, they're fractional. This first offset is 7/32, for example, or you can type in 0.219. So here we go. O, enter, 7/32, or 0.219. And then right off the drawing, the next one is 1 and 15/16, or 1.938. So here we go, 1.938 up. And then the next offset, 2.688. The final offset is projected down from the top, but that's how it was given to us. So to get to the top, we need to do a full length offset, which is 6¼ inches, so 6.125 inches, sorry, 6.125. So from the very bottom all the way to the very top, that is what that distance is. And then you can project downward, 7/8. Or 0.875. And so now you have all of the horizontal lines. Okay, how about the vertical lines? Best to start off with a center line when the object is round. So we'll put one right there, and I'll just put one, yep, kind of randomly right there. And then we'll offset the same amount in both directions, or you can just go to one side and then mirror to the other. Your call. So we are given the this first hole as it actually gives us the drill hole. That's interesting. And then it gives us the threads. So we're going to take a moment to talk about threads. The drill hole is typically the size of the peaks of the threads. So the smaller hole. Threads would be represented with two circles in the top view. You can see these two tiny circles here. I'll zoom in. So as you look down this thing, you can see the inside or the peaks of the threads, and then the valleys of the threads right in here are the trough. And that's represented with this hidden line because you can't actually see those. So the diameter of this hole, they give us as 27/64. And the diameter of this hole or the larger one is actually given to us by the size of the thread, which is 1/2 inch. So in other words, the bolt that would fit into this hole, a bolt that we are also going to make, is a 1/2 inch in diameter. So this is a 1/2 inch in diameter. The two go together pretty tight. So basically, this inner hole is 27/64. The outer hole is 0.5. Okay, and so that's what you're going to draw. So if this were 27/64 in diameter, uh, uh, we're not going to dimension it that way. We're going to dimension it just as the thread, because that's what the machinist would know better. It's funny that they gave us that that they told us what drill bit to use, because you don't put how to make it instructions on a drafting drawing like this. You would just define what it is, which is a 1/2 inch thread with 13 threads per inch, and it's a national course thread, and it's a class 3 fit. So that's the idea. That's all you got to label. But as far as the offset is concerned, over here, this first guy is going to be 1/2 of 27/64. And then the outer one is just going to be 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so zooming out, let's do that. All right, so what is 1/2 of 27/64? It would be 27/128. You just double the bottom, right? So if you want to do that by the book, offset O, enter, 27 divided by 128. There it is on both sides. So that is the internal hole. And then the outside, again, the offset was just 0.25. So from the center out in both directions, 0.25. And you can see those lines are pretty close together, as they should be. It's basically the difference between those lines is the thickness of the thread itself, the little triangular shape. Okay, so the next offsets we have are the top of this guy is 1 inch across, you can see, and then it tapers down to a larger width of 1.219. So from center, the offset is 0.5 in both directions. And then the 1.219, if you were to divide that by 2, I don't know that right offhand. Maybe I should get my calculator out for you guys here. Divide that by 2. 1.219 divided by 2 is 0.0695. We can round up and say, or just use that value, that's fine. So O, enter, 0.06095. So from the center out in both, one more time, 0.6095. 0.6095. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that. 0.6095. One last time. There it is. And then the final diameter, this down at the bottom, we're given as 1 9/16, or 1.563. If you were to do the math on that, 16 plus 9 is 25/16. So that would be 25/32 on both sides. So O, enter, 25/32. From the center out, there you go. Or 1/2 of 1.563. Okay, so I think we have the majority of the construction lines that we need to make this view. Let's see if we can do it. Go to the object layer. Maybe zoom in a little tighter. Okay, so I know the bottom is basically a rectangle. Just use the rectangle function for that. And this guy is going to go up to here, cut across, and down. This guy is going to have a slight taper. There it is. Okay. We can do the fillets now if you want. Might as well. So this lower fillet is a 16th. The upper one is 3/32. Go to the fillet command, type R, enter. 1/16. Do these bottom ones. And then the upper one is 3/32 radius. All right. Next view. No, sorry, next view. I'm anxious here. The next feature, sorry, is the slot that goes through this thing. So that should be pretty straightforward. We've already got its centers marked. We need to offset to its edges. Its edge is close to what the outside of the hole is here, but it's actually slightly more. So it's 9/16 on the diameter, which would make it 9/32 on the radius. You could either draw the construction lines or you could draw the circle. I'm just going to draw the circle. So I'm going to click on circle or type circle, C, enter. Click on the center point and know that its diameter, D, enter, is 9/16. And do another one over here. And then just connect the dots, right? Connect the quadrants there. All right. Excellent. And then you can trim out this piece here. Of course, it's better to turn off the construction lines when you do that. Otherwise, it gets really trimmy. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so the object lines on that view are done. We just need to do the hidden lines, showing this hole that comes down through here, this threaded hole, I should say. Turn our construction lines back on. We've already got the construction lines we need for it. We did those. So that will be very easy. Just click on one and then get your nearest button working there. Be careful. Perfect. Okay. So that view is pretty good. Aside from the center lines, that's done. Let's work on its top view now. Series of circles here. Since I'm in my hidden layer, I'll just do that one first. That's the outer one, and then the rest will be object. And that's to the inner one. Look at that. Be careful. I think I'm going to turn my nearest snap off. It has its upsides and downsides. And that, of course, is object. Pretty easy. We just need to show this slot going through it. And again, we can extend these construction lines up for that, or just trim these off. Look at that. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do my hidden layer and just click on this guy here and just extend upward to how far it goes, which is this circle here. Or you could pull it off if you wanted. But either way, I think I'm just going to pull it straight up and off. There we go. And then trim to it. All right, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Grab that point there, or I can take it from the top, I guess, and just extend out. Turn off my construction lines. Turn them off. There you go, and then trim to it. Good deal. So I think I just made a mistake. I think I clicked on the wrong line. I must have, because those are too close. I'm so sorry. Let me try that one more time. So I'm grabbing the endpoint here and pulling upward, right? Boy, that looks close. Okay, and the same one here, the endpoint of this line and pulling upward. It is close. It just looks closer than the one I did before. And then trimming out here and here, here and here, and then just deleting this stuff. Okay, oops. All right, so that is pretty much it for the top view. And then we'll work on this right side view here. So the right side view, interesting, you can see, is going to have a little bit of the sides missing where the slot comes through. So if you look here, that on this top view, we're going to project that downward to get that distance. So turn my construction lines back on, and I'll make a 45 degree construction line. I guess I'll just put it right here for now. And then we'll bounce this stuff down. The truth is, because this is a round thing, you could just, a round, almost symmetrical thing, you could just copy all this over. And that is what I did. So let me show you. I'm just going to copy literally all of this. And I'm just going to move it from the center of this circle over a bit, like that. Just make room for it. Just something like that right there. Okay. Something like right about there. Okay. And so I'll have to move that 45 to the center. Okay, there it is. All right. So I don't need these circles anymore. I'm just going to delete them. But you get the idea. So that saved me a little bit of trouble of extending all these lines across and then bouncing them down. It was really easy. I just had to hit copy. So the only thing that there's only a few things that aren't the same in this view. That's just a few changes. The slot is not there, of course. So I can delete that right now, I guess. But the other thing, as you can see in this example here, is that because we're looking at the slot from the side, it goes in. Okay. Let me zoom in on the top view. We get those distances from the edge here. So, and I'll make this stand out with a phantom line to really bring this home. That this line, this edge right here, as it comes across, and then we'll go down from its point of intersection. That is where that slot comes in. I'll just put it there. And it's going to be the same with the other side, of course. So where it intersects, that's how the sides come in here. And at the arc, it's where they bend in, but by the time they get to here, they are on the money there. Okay. So let's make a construction line going across at the top of the arc. So from the very top of the arc right here, all the way across, and of course the bottom of the arc, same thing. That is where the evidence of the slot takes place. By the time it gets to the midpoint, those lines, that's its edge. And I'm going to trim that phantom line to it right now, just to show you what I'm talking about on both sides. And then I'm going to delete the phantom line, the parts of it that aren't staying. So that phantom line is the new edge, is truly the new edge, okay? And I'm now going to turn it into object line because it is the new edge. And these object lines on the sides, those are getting deleted. In fact, I can trim them away right now. Bye-bye. Okay. So that's for sure going away. In fact, it's actually going away all the way to the beginning of the arc. So I could really do this. I could really just say, nope, that's not there either. So we got this straight segment that goes all the way along the slot. But from here to here, it blends, it smooths into it. And you can see my example over here. It's an arc. It's an arc with a start point here and an end point there, and the radius, we just honestly kind of eyeball. There's no way to really calculate that, what that would look like in this view. So, how do you eyeball that? Go to your object layer, go to arc. I want a start point and an end point. So find one that says start and end. Start end angle, start end direction, start end radius. That's the one I want to use, start end radius. Click on it. And depending on your start or end, it depends which way the radius goes, either inside or outside. So let's hope we get this right. I'm going to start on the bottom and end on the top. Yeah, that worked right. And then the radius, you can just kind of move the cursor around and see, what looks, does that look good? No, of course not. Does that look good? Yeah. And just say, yeah, that's about right. So one more time, and I'll zoom in a little tighter here. You go to arc, I'm going to choose start end radius. I'm going to click on the bottom one, click on the top one, and then eyeball this arc so that it looks like a nice smooth tangent, but not like a straight line. I want it to be curvy, but not too straight. I think that's just perfect. And then once you get it, don't do the same on all of them. Just mirror it, you know. So that'll make it easy. So I'm just going to mirror this one to the other side. MI, enter. Of course, you could do this with your entire object if you wanted to just mirror the whole entire thing. So I mirrored it to the other side, and now I'm going to mirror those upward. Again, MI, enter, select them both, and go off the midpoint of this line segment here, and then across from it, and there you go. And now, of course, I can delete the this view of the slot because that doesn't belong there in that view. What does belong there of that slot is its edges, its hidden line edges for sure. And you can see there's the bottom of the slot as it comes across, and there's the top of the slot. So we need to put that in with its hidden line edges. So like that, and like that. Now you might be wondering what is going on with the hole? Why does the hole show up as hidden lines here and not here? You know, do we keep this like that? What do we do with the hidden lines that show the hole? How can they be there in one view and not in the other? And the answer is, if we were trying to draw what this hole looked like realistically, you would actually see an arc edge. You would see something like, if I can get this to bend right now, it's going the wrong way. Something like this, right? If you were trying to draw it super realistically, that's the inside of the hole, but it is not done that way. We do not do that. We just show the outside of the hole they would terminate at. So this is the top of the hole this is the top of the slot that the hole pierces through. And so what is customary to do in drafting is just to show the top of the piercing. And that is it right there. We would not show the outline that it would create when one hole intersects another hole. By the way, that shape is known as a yoke. But in the world of drafting, it is not necessary. It's very difficult to figure it out if you're trying to draw it exactly, and it just adds confusion to the whole thing. The threads, for example, are another time-saving thing. This is a very simplified version of a thread, just an edge, just a upper edge and a lower edge, as opposed to showing the actual teeth like this here, which we are going to do in the next object, unfortunately. But we try to simplify things. And anyway, I'm going to zoom out. And hopefully that wasn't too complicated. I have the dimensions placed here. And let me zoom in on that. So that is actually your final drawing for today, right there, with a note as well. And I'm going to end this lecture there, I think.